So the second episode of The Mandalorian just aired on Friday, and I was keen on watching another great adventure of our bounty hunter. I do want it to get a bit more criticizing too, but this show, it really makes it hard for me. Let's have a deeper look at Chapter 2 of The Mandalorian. Chapter 2 is called The Child, and gets right back to the Mandalorian together with little baby Yoda on that remote planet. When the bounty hunter is willing to fly away and bring the asset back to his Imperial client, he is stopped not only by a bunch of other bounty hunters, but by the most fearsome creatures in the galaxy, Jawas! As I did in my review of Chapter 1, I can only emphasize on how good this show looks. This muddy feeling on this deserted world is just like I would expect it from a Star Wars western. And it really is like that. It's different from other Star Wars shows or films. I sensed that in Episode 1, but Episode 2 confirms that. It kinda subverted my expectations, but in the right way. So it's really westernish. It's slow, it's often calm, with its slow camera shots, only to bring some energy with great action sequences and faster editing. Even though I'd appreciate if we could see more physical work in a clear shot than just cut, 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 cut. Right after the first encounter with the bounty hunters, we get to see the first real connection between Baby Yoda, and yes, we'll just call him that until the real name is revealed, and the Mandalorian. It is a nice foreshadowing that Baby Yoda might get some powers of greater use. And it is quite interesting to notice that Baby Yoda's force powers are limited yet, and lifting the creature later on caused him to fall asleep for a long time. Imagine if Baby Yoda healed the Mandalorian back at the camp. No help for him during the fight for the egg then, huh? The Jawas raiding his ship? Gorgeous, the whole scene, how pissed and yet focused he was. I mean, they took almost every important part of his ship and he just doesn't waste any second to vaporize a few Jawas and sprinted right to their sandcrawler. The lonely soldier in the desert with big balls. I just love that. In all this time, we have no real dialogue whatsoever, which is great because it feels so authentic. I haven't seen this kind of handling a dialogue before. Well, not that I could remember. In the Clone Wars and in Rebels, there was so much dialogue. I mean, there were so many people, of course, but here, in this particular case, we got this lonely soldier, and it's nice to see him in that way. We wouldn't talk much in our adventures if we were alone, would we? And Baby Yoda, he is still rather an asset than a real humanoid being to him. At least they refer to Baby Yoda as an it later on. To be fair, the species of Yoda was always a mystery in Star Wars history. The chase on the sandcrawler was a great mix of action and fun, like with the sound editing when the scrap was dropped on the Mandalorian. Seeing the Jawas falling down from the sandcrawler really got me laughing. Shame on me. But seeing the Mandalorian being welcomed by the rest of them, well, that was another thing. And so we have our real big issue on the second episode. Well, not in a way of criticizing it, but it's just a real issue for the Mandalorian. He's not able to fly away. Fortunately, he gets help from Kuiil, who we got to know last episode. The farmer, a nice guy, someone who just wants his freedom and his peace, and there he is, helping our Mandalorian for free. It's nothing too fancy, but a nice little touch to give us another adventure on this planet and new scenes with Kuiil, who I really love as a character, even though I don't know if I pronunciate his name correctly. Sorry about that. The old farmer who just wants to work properly without any trouble and is thankful to the Mandalorian for his services because he saved him, or rather his land, you know. And yeah, Baby Yoda ate a frog. Just mentioning because I laughed my ass off. The rest of the episode is basically the Mandalorian getting back the stolen parts of his ship by stealing an egg from a new beast that at least I haven't seen before in Star Wars. The fight is dirty. Literally. And by watching, I could tell the Mandalorian hates mud. It's wet and it's everywhere, you know. Great fight sequence with good CGI if you ask me, and always with Baby Yoda in between. I love that mix. I love that we have him as another viewer, as if the audience is watching the action through his eyes too. And then there's the moment, the reveal that we all knew was coming. Baby Yoda showing off his Force abilities by force lifting the creature. It looked awesome. There was a nice touch of sound editing right there, even though it's not like the typical thing when someone uses the Force in the movies. I think you know what I mean, but it was nice. It's a bit different. It's another thing. It's another version of Star Wars. And I think the Mandalorian was in awe too when he saw that. It's so nice to see his reactions and feelings right through his helmet, and I think that's why it's so slow, or rather seems slow, because they need the time. You need to have this focus on his helmet and those little movements, and I think they're doing this just right. Jawas got the egg in the end. Nasty little Jawas. You. The Mandalorian, his parts, and Baby Yoda was sleeping like me after 24-hour shift. That Kuiil could help the Mandalorian with the repair of his ship is logical, yeah, but it took them just one night. That is a bit convenient, but okay, I'll just buy them that one. And again, we got another glimpse on the Mandalorian's character. He wants to thank Kuiil in any way. He even wants him to join his crew, which is lovely. It's just natural, because they work together so well. That is the kind of dialogue I can appreciate, and I hope that we will soon have some crew members on board. For now, we are left open with one question. What will happen to Baby Yoda? From what we've seen so far, the Mandalorian seems to be the guy to do the right thing, and not just go for the big score instantly. I'm really looking forward to it, and I must say that I fell in love with that new kind of Star Wars. It's calm, it's slow, not sloppy, and I can sense the love that was put in the making of it. And because I hope that it can still get better, and I will have more people and more dialogue in the next chapters, I'd rate it again with 4 out of 5 Mandalorian helmets, ladies and gentlemen. But what are your thoughts on this episode of The Mandalorian? Please feel free to comment below, and of course subscribe to this channel for more reviews and other videos about Star Wars. And as always, may the Force be with you. I have spoken.